prophecy of the voice crying. The prophecy of the voice crying in the wilderness, a prophetic foreshadow of the end times. John, a prophetic sign, a symbol of what was to come, a prophetic sign of the church. John became himself a sign to the church for the end times. John humbled the people in the wilderness so that they would not exalt themselves. He wore sackcloth, humbled himself, and brought the humbling of the people. Isaiah chapter 43-4 says, "And the voice of him that crieth in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Lord, make straight in the desert a highway to our God. Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places plain." Those who listen to this voice crying out to humble yourself and come out into the wilderness is exactly what's going to occur in the end times. Luke chapter 14 verse 9 and 10 and 11 says, "And he that bade thee and him come and say to thee, Give this man place, and thou begin with shame to take the lowest room. But when thou art bidden, go and sit down in the lowest room, that when he that bade thee cometh, he may say to thee, Friend, go up hither. Then shalt thou have worship in the presence of them that sit at meat with thee. For whosoever exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted." And this lower room here is the tents and the sackcloth in the wilderness of Edom, at the location of Petra, those who humble themselves in that location. Obadiah chapter 1 verse 4 says, "Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord." And those who humble themselves and listen, they will be exalted and given eagle's wings. Revelation chapter 12 verse 14. "And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time from the face of the serpent." And John was the servant called to gather the people during his time, a prophetic foreshadow of that prophet of the end to call the bride to come. A servant, yes. It says he sent a servant, not servants, but a singular servant. Luke chapter 14, verse 16 and 17. "Then said he unto him, A certain man made a great supper, and bade many, and sent his servant at supper time to say to them that were bidden, Come, for all things are ready." And wasn't John in the wilderness saying, Come, come on, come, come, right? Wasn't John the prophetic foreshadow of the end, where the servant sent to call the bride under a banner? Come, let's go. We're going out into the wilderness. And who was it that refused to listen? It was the religious, the people that thought they had their doctrines figured out, their traditions, all these little ideological eschatologies that they believed about when things were, and the signs and the seasons, and all their little Pharisee ideas. Yes, that's the modern teachers and the religious teachers of Christianity today. They're Pharisees. They got their little doctrines of rapture, their little views of eschatology, reform theology. They're all in error, just like the Pharisees and the Sadducees. No different. They refuse to listen. And in the end times, they are those 5 foolish virgins that will not listen to the calling to come. And they're going to sit in their chiefest rooms. They're going to sit there and they're going to bark, 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 bark. And they're going to bark their little mouths like dogs. They're not going to come. They're not going to humble themselves and come. John chapter 1 verse 19 talks about the Pharisees and how they were refusing to obey the call to come to the wilderness as well. John chapter 1 verse 19 and 23. "And this is the record of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, Who art thou? He confessed and denied not, but confessed, I am not the Christ. And they asked him, What then? Art thou Elias? And he saith, I am not. Art thou that prophet? He answered, No. Then said they unto him, Who art thou, that we may give an answer to them that sent us? What sayest thou of thyself? He said, I am the voice of one crying in the wilderness, Make straight the way of the Lord, as said the prophet Isaiah. John notified them that he was the voice of one crying, Come in the wilderness, to come out into the wilderness, to prepare that way, the way of the Lord, to go that way. And they refused to listen. They couldn't see what was going on in front of them. They wanted that prophet. They wanted Elijah. And they won't listen. The same religious people are stuck in their heads. They won't listen, just like the days of John. Matthew chapter 25 verse 6 says, And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. People refused to listen. They refused to let go of their things. They refused to let go of their belongings. They loved their world. They loved the riches of the world. And that's what the Jews did. They betrayed Christ for money. They didn't listen to John, go out in there and humble themselves because they were going to lose their priesthood. They were going to lose their temple that got all their money. They got all the money in the temple. So Christ went to the temple first and started preaching about their covetous means, calling them serpents and a den of vipers and a bunch of thieves. Going in about their money, they refused to come out into the wilderness and humble themselves because they were going to lose the priesthood. That's basically it. They didn't want to let go of their doctrinal ideology. That's what cut off the Pharisees. They were cut off from that. That was their fall. In the book of Romans chapter 11 verse 12, it says, "Now if the fall of them be the riches of the world and the diminishing of the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness?" Falling away from refusing to come to Christ and be baptized in the wilderness was because they loved the world and the riches of the world. And what happened to them? They got cut off. And this is going to occur to the church in the end times. Same thing's going to happen. Bunch of religious people, cut off. Cut off. Branches removed. Branches removed. Gone. You're cut off. Don't listen. Don't go to the wilderness. Cut off. Branch. Axe laid at the tree. Axe laid at the root of the tree. Don't listen to the prophet tell you to go out in the wilderness. You're cut off, just like the Pharisees. Romans chapter 11, verse 20. "Well, because of unbelief they were broken off. And thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed, lest he also spare not thee." The Jews falling away was because they refused to let go of the things of the world. They refused to let go. What did Christ do when he first came? Went to the apostles, told everybody, sell everything. Get rid of everything. That's a foreshadow of what's to come. You're going to get rid of everything and you're going to have to come out into the wilderness. There's going to be people going, "Well, I don't know about that. Jesus doesn't want me to lose my nice car, my fancy house I just bought. I just worked for 20 years to buy this house. I'm not going to just go out into the wilderness and let everything go." This is exactly the same thing. Their love of the riches, the love of the world, they won't let them go. And because of that, they fell away. The Jews fell away. They were cut off. The Jews falling away was a warning by the apostle that you may also be cut off like them. And in the end times it talks about one as well. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 3. "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." Maybe they compromised and take the mark of the beast because they didn't heed the voice calling them into the wilderness. Matthew chapter 25 verse 5. "While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept." They slumbered and slept. They slumbered and slept. They didn't listen to the voice of the one calling them into the wilderness. "And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him." A voice cried, "Go out ye to meet him." The voice crying out in the wilderness to go ye out and meet him. Isn't that a prophetic foreshadow of what occurred with John the Baptist, the prophet? Didn't he say the same? Isaiah chapter 40 verse 6. "The voice said, Cry. And he said, What shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and all the goodliness thereof is as the flower of the field." What shall I cry? Shall I cry the trumpet that burns up all the grass? Is that what you want? You want that cry? Revelation chapter 8 verse 7. "The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up." I guess that's the time and the warning to get out in the wilderness, otherwise the grass is going to be burnt up, huh? Maybe you should listen to the voice of one crying to get out into the wilderness at that time. Isaiah chapter 40 verse 7 and 8. "The grass withereth, the flower fadeth, because the Spirit of the Lord bloweth upon it. Surely the people is grass. The grass withereth, the flower fadeth, but the word of our God shall stand forever." The call to Jerusalem to get out into the mountains. Isaiah chapter 40 verse 9 and 10. "O Zion, that bringest good tidings, get thee up into the high mountain. O Jerusalem, that bringest good tidings, lift up thy voice with strength, lift it up. Be not afraid. Say unto the cities of Judah, Behold your God. Behold, the Lord will come with strong hand, and his arm shall rule for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. The warning to get to the mountains, Judah. The warning to get to the mountains, O daughter of Zion, to leave, to Exodus, to come out of her, my people. The voice of one in the wilderness saying, come, the bride, come, the Spirit, come. And they don't listen. They don't want to listen. They love the world, and they're just going to get stuck under the burning of the grass. I guess that's what's needed. Isaiah chapter 42, verse 11. Let the wilderness and the cities thereof lift up their voice, the villages that Kedar doth inhabit. Let the inhabitants of the rock sing. Let them shout from the top of the mountains. I guess that's the one who's out there in the mountains singing the new song, and that's the ones who are rejoicing from the top of the mountains. The daughter of Zion that went out into the high mountains. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 9. O Zion, that bringest good tidings. Get thee up to the high mountain. Lift up thy voice. It sounds like there's one from Zion who listens and goes out into the wilderness and lifts up their voice in the mountains, singing that new song. Yes, and behold, his reward is with him. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 10. Behold, the Lord God will come with strong hand, and his arm shall rule for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. Revelation chapter 22, verse 12. And behold, I cometh quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according to his work. The voice says, get out into the wilderness and come under one banner. Eat that manna and sing that song out in the rocks. Revelation chapter 2, verse 17. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that receiveth it. Yeah, that stumbling stone. That stumbling stone might be a stumbler for people who don't get it, who don't have ears to hear or eyes to see what the Spirit is saying to the church. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 7 and 8. Unto you therefore, which believe, he is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner, and a stone of stumbling, and a rock of offense, even unto them which stumbled at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. We got a stone and a rock, little stone and Petra, Petros and Petra, Petro and Petra. On that Petro and Petra, I will build my church. The warning of the stone is the same in the foreshadow. Isaiah chapter 8, 14. And he shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone, a stumbling, and for a rock of offense to both the house of Israel, for a gin and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. The rock and the stone will be a sanctuary out in the wilderness to preserve the people for the 1260 days. Matthew chapter 22, 2 through 7. The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a certain king which made a marriage for his son. And he sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. And he sent forth other servants, saying, Tell them which are bidden, Behold, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen, my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come to the marriage. But they made light of it, and went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise. And the remnant took his servants, and entreated them spitefully, and slew them. But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth, and sent forth his armies, and destroyed those murderers, and burned up their city. Yes, the wrathful king who's called people to come to his wedding that refused to come, he's prepared a banner for that day to deal with that city and its inhabitants. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 26. And he will lift up an ensign to the nations from afar, and will hiss unto them from the end of the earth. And behold, they shall come with speed swiftly. Those who hear the voice of one crying will come. And just like the first coming of Christ, the power and the prestige that the priests had, it was stripped from them, and it was given to fishermen and people that were of low stature. The same thing occurs in the end. It's going to be stripped from all these pastors and these priests, these people that think that they control the church, and it's going to occur again. Matthew chapter 21, verse 43 and 44. Therefore I say unto you, the kingdom of God shall be taken from you and given to a nation bringing forth the fruits thereof. And whosoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken, but on whomsoever it shall fall, it will grind him to powder. This stone's going to grind you people to powder who refuse to listen. That ensign is risen. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 2 and 3. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I also called my mighty ones from mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And John warned about that day burning like an oven. He saw the axe laid at the root of the tree for those branches that would be cut off. Just like the Pharisees who refused to listen, the kingdom was stripped from them and given to the people who were worthy to bring that unification. The apostles and the bishops and the early church, and those who truly left everything and go out into the wilderness to obey the voice of the one crying to go out into the wilderness. And this occurs in the end times. And this is the prophecy of the voice.